So you all have our engineer's report. It's quite intensive. The next one I plan to provide you guys, it'll be more high level. Wanted you all to have the full report before I kind of shrunk it down and made it easier to understand, just so you could get caught up to date with all the engineering items in case you had any questions. Had a couple updates to provide you. Supervisor Spar and Parrish, we went up to Phoenix Drive last week. Spoke with Jared today. He's going to be sending out a cease and desist, a notice of violation, and a grading permit application of that property up there on Phoenix Drive. So
Cease and desist to what, Sean?
Grading activity.
It's grading.
Who's doing the grading, Sean?
Dennis Lusak.
Yeah, there's a couple names involved up there. Dennis Sluchek, Boca Cole.
You would be
And-
familiar with it under the Dixon Holdings
Oh,
property.
okay.
That's who it was before. Mr. Dixon unfortunately since passed away, but Dixon's had sold it to Boca and Slusak, but it's that property.
Okay, so they basically grading there without a permit?
They have DEP permits we're aware of.
Or
For,
R permits, do they have R permits?
no, they don't.
They never made an application at all?
No.
Not that I could
For-
find it.
From what I tried digging up, once upon a time before COVID, I think the township was working on getting that area permitted, and then I think COVID happened, it just kind of fell off the radar, so.
When you say get that area permit, what do you mean by that?
Getting a grading permit in place for the mining activity.
What are they mining? Stone?
They're reclamating a mine, really, is what he seemed to be doing. I actually found a recording of a meeting back in April or whatever that I had, because I was following through COVID. It was during COVID, he appeared here, and it was reclamating. He's taking in a lot of fill. So, it appears to be football fields of fill. And it doesn't appear to be any erosion control or anything up there.
No, so do we have a problem with conservation district with this? Is there an ES plan?
There's, I'll weigh in a little bit on this. Michelle, back in that period of time, I remember talking to Dennis Sluchek, and he was in the process of potentially, this is what I remember, best as I recall.
He was complaining because Jessica Steiner Behringer was asking him for grading permits,
That's
and he was
exact.
hot under the collar at a podium.
And he's got a bit of a situation, at least, and it's been months since I've talked to him with DEP, because there's a mining permit. It's a reclamation permit or a mining permit that Boca Coal had on the property. And what he had told me at the time was their intention was to terminate the mining permit and transition into a NPDES permit, which is just your normal construction activity permit with DEP.
There is something up at the DEP that's going up for review in December
Okay.
as a mining permit for that site.
And
So
then
there's
that may be part of it.
something hitting on the DEP. I'm one of those weirdos that have the, sends me
Me
for
too.
years now.
Me too.
He was aware he needs a grading permit from the township to move the dirt up there.
So I have a question for you, Jamie. Is Cardox Road bonded? Because there's triaxles of trucks going with big loads of dirt on our township roads.
Not by that property, it's not bonded.
Why not?
Yeah, why?
Just something I was unaware of until recently when
Well,
supervisors Parrish and Spar alerted me to it.
Trax lives on that road though.
Well, they should have that
Yeah,
bonding,
yeah.
so we should, who does the bonding here? Do you guys do the bonding aspect or what?
We were processing them, and then the project manager began processing them.
Who's the
but
who's the project manager?
Terry Gladys.
Okay,
So we could do that.
all right, we have a new form agreement, so what I can do is we can send you a new form agreement we've just been doing, because we represent about 40 different places, but, you know,
There
So-
are people that come to my business on a weekly and daily basis with pictures of giant trucks. You gotta do something.
This
you
has
gotta
been
do
going
something.
on for 6, 8, 10 months.
It's been going on since April of 2020, because
Yeah.
that's when that man was here complaining about needing a
And
grading
that
permit.
road is being damaged. And the taxpayers paid for that road one time. They don't need to pay for it again. And this isn't even acceptable from a taxpayer standpoint, that our roads are not bonded, and this is going on, and I'm not on board. I
And
want
it's
some
not a
answers.
it's not a once or twice trip.
Dude,
This is a
No.
guy moving
This is all the time.
triaxles.
Dennis
dozen
Michael's
a
office
day.
has great documents that I anticipate we'll use on this, but having it just brought to our attention, now's the time to enforce it.
But was this ever brought up at prior meetings about this third situation?
I was only at the one, I don't, just the one
Well,
I,
you
It was never brought up while I was on the board. I just, remembered hearing that he was here complaining that, the engineer at the time that worked for Harshman had approached him and wanted a grading permits and erosion control and stuff at that time in 2020. I don't remember it ever coming up in a meeting since then, so I guess I figured it was handled, and then, it's been a huge thing of the residents on Cardox about these trucks. So you go, it is a massive fill site, compaction site.
If I can make a recommendation, I suggest someone from Jamie or Sean, someone from the office, go up there, give a cease and desist to quit using that road until they get the appropriate bonds in place. I mean, we want bonds, they're gonna have to put escrow monies, and hopefully we keep an accurate escrow accounting in this office, unlike previous the board, but,
probably get pictures of the road too.
well, but we need pictures, but I'm just saying, we need to have an escrow, they have to make the appropriate application fee, so I would go up there tomorrow, whoever this is, and tell them, you can only use our roads to get the road bonded, so they need to do that ASAP and give them a cease and desist letter. Okay?
And then you have the grading permit.
That too, but we don't want them to use the road until they get the bonds put in place, because
Well, what you have is the entrance of their property, coming up this way, you're on South Park coming in. Coming from that point on, you're in Union. So that
Part of
road
us in
is
Union, even though
25%
South Park is down below where that entrance is to that.
Yeah,
That's
that's
Union where
Oh,
the
yeah.
entrance is.
back in
Sean, these
2000,
development last night.
Sluice out.
back in 2020, it seemed to be there was an
There-
issue of a white foamy substance coming down on Cardox from that property.
I believe the
February.
rezoning was under a
Kinda hear about.
DSC acquisitions, and,
DCS.
DCS acquisitions, and,
Yeah.
so I, taking a guess, that's one of Sluchek's, companies, but, yeah, I mean, until we get the cease and desist to him and he starts asking questions about what's going on, we have a conversation. It's not exactly sure what all's going on out there, what's planned out there, so.
well, who's in charge of, who's in charge of planning? I mean, I thought, do you have someone that's in charge of planning here? I mean, I thought that was you guys, or?
Not anymore. Terry,
It was
Terry
tracks.
Terry Gladys was the planning
Tracks,
director.
it was his road.
Doing everything else.
She hadn't, I think she went to one planning meeting as the planning director. I think that she had just been appointed as planning director.
Yeah, we,
In the
Sean
one meeting
served
where
as
the
planning
trash
director for a
subdivision
while,
was,
right?
I think he was the only one she.
So what I suggest we do is go up there tomorrow, someone, one of you guys go up there tomorrow, somebody, give a cease and desist, and I think after that, my recommendation would be, is find out what they're doing up there. And again, I don't know much about it, but do they need to go through the soil conservation district for any type of permitting?
if what Dennis told me months ago is true, then it's gonna be an NPDES permit, which will go to both DEP and Conservation District because of the mining activity on the site as well. It's probably an individual permit.
I believe they have that permit, but based off what we
They
saw, it
must have
didn't appear
a
they were
mining
complying
permit
with it.
that's coming up for review in December of this year, so they've been working under a DEP permit, so that they have.
I have them all printed.
Is there a zoning issue also with what they're doing up there?
This is what they did the mud overlay on during COVID, when nobody was around.
Is there a zoning issue up there also with what they're doing?
Not moving
Nothing on
dirt,
record, no, there's been some residents' complaints about a rezoning
Okay.
during COVID.
So, you know, I guess that would be my recommendation, our recommendation to the board. Cease and desist and move forward.
So
Jim, who had oversight as far as the township is concerned for that project? Who had oversight
For the, which
to
project?
make sure that the one we're talking about, to ensure that the permits are all in place? for
There haven't been any,
Mining,
there haven't been any applications to the township. So I wanna say 2 years ago or whatever, in 2020, when our engineer Jessica Steiner was in correspondence with, Sluchek about grading permits. Off the top of my head, I don't remember what happened then, if they just quit doing whatever, or COVID canceled everything out, but
He was telling her that he was doing a service to the community by giving people a place to dump dirt, and she was saying, well, that's all well and good, but you need permits and things have to, so I just assumed it, but I don't have any records to know what happened.
Who is she?
She worked for.
Steiner.
she was our engineer.
So then you should have a file on that then, don't you?
Yes.
So we'll need to see a copy
She
of
was
that file.
putting her, I mean, she was taking some heat from him, from what I could tell in that meeting, but she was holding his feet. She goes, you know, all well and good, but you have erosion control, you have permits you have to get. And I'm assuming it went from there, but.
And it's been, I believe there's been silence on the topic since then until now, so.
And I go up there to get stuff at the auto parts all the time. It just seems like recently it's redone.
Mhm.
Like it didn't seem like anything was happening there, and then all of a sudden recently a lot is happening.
That makes
So it could
sense.
be they didn't get any permits because they weren't doing anything, but now, maybe it's cause we're an all new board and maybe they think no one's looking, I don't know,
We're
but
gonna get to meet us all.
they're gonna get to meet us.
Sooner than they think.
Yeah, but if the board's okay with that, we'll schedule the trip out there tomorrow and make sure the cease and desist on both topics, grading without a permit and utilizing the road with heavy trucks without being bonded, gets sent out.
whose trucks are they?
Well, that's
Does
the thing
anybody
is,
know?
different people are coming to dump there. So to get him to bond the road, he's just accepting the dirt. So then you have, who is bringing the dirt, is he needs to bond the road. But they're gonna call it one trips, they're gonna call it, oh, well, we're not really, they're all one trips. And
Yeah,
our
say
ordinance
local
says they don't need to
delivery.
bond the road for one trip.
Right,
And Mr. I keep remembering his name, Mr. Sluice,
Sluchek.
so they're not his trucks, they're just people that are bringing dirt to his location.
So would it be fair to say Union Township wasn't just a focal point to have all the attorneys in the world come to Union Township? Now it's become the big dumping site
Yes, it is the dumping site.
with all the
Gardens
interested
is the
parties
same.
in the world.
And we may need to look at some sort of ordinance or whatever, but, you know, ordinance says a one-time occasional trip is not a bonding. They're not his everyday trucks, they are random people coming from everywhere, so how do you get them to bond it?
Well, when you've got a site that eventually it'll be
It's a bit-
permitted,
yeah.
grading permit as a fill site, if that's what they're gonna do, then you've got the understanding trucks are coming to the site. And somebody's gonna have to bond that road, and typically I would expect that,
I think we got
DCS
$580,000
acquisitions or
of paving there
Sluchek
in
would
2020.
bond, and then they would give us a list of their haulers who are covered under that bond.
It should be the owner of the property should bond.
Yeah,
right.
Should bond.
With the understanding that he's bringing in all this.
I think that was a
Traffic.
$580,000 road project in 2020,
Car dogs?
yes,
Mm-hmm.
that is a new road that's getting tore up.
Okay, well, also you may wanna do is schedule an information meeting between them and the township to see what's going on out there.
And they're a vocal group, Rocks Road residents.
Can I ask a question with that area? Union Gardens has been dumping, same thing, it's not their
They've been getting the
trucks,
permits though, from what I could find.
but it's not their trucks. Tons of different trucks have been coming in. And it almost looks like they're building a road that would connect to Slusak's property.
Another project to look into, but I know that well, you have a state road there, Brownsville is a state road.
And
but-
it's still posted 10-ton.
Yeah,
It's a state road,
this is Brownsville, so she's talking about Union Gardens, which was
Okay.
going on.
but when I was here
So
last
they're
time.
doing the same thing on the opposite side, their properties wouldn't touch.
So the
But
union,
Union Garden was doing a similar thing on the other side, but off of Brownsville.
but
And
that's,
they're-
But that's a state road.
Their road permit is it's not considered temporary road permit through PennDOT, a it's a weird term that they used for their, HOP, for their driveway, but the amount of,
Say so on the state.
John,
No.
We won't
We
have any
don't,
say so
no.
on the PennDOT
no,
driveway.
but the amount that's coming in and out doesn't satisfy with what the permit is for that, what that driveway is.
Without, I don't know that we could do anything about it being PennDOT.
Yeah, that's something of a PennDOT.
And I've seen different permits and I've heard different, on reports that I've been getting for the last 10 months that Paliauto has been doing things with their permit. I've just
They,
never seen.
Well, they got one in April after I asked for it, yeah.
They submit geotech compaction reports on a regular basis whenever the fill is placed. They do have an active permit, they do have an escrow account with the township. We do periodically inspect the site for erosion control. They also submit clean fill certificates on material sources as they come to the site. So they've been keeping up with the paperwork that we expect from them.
The operation on Cardox is doing as much, if not more, than they are with nothing.
Then we gotta teach them how to do it.
Okay, so, I don't even know where we're at anymore, we're just on discussion.
It's not done yet.
Sean was running through some